this video we're going to be learning about standard form. Before we do that, we need to just check that we understand powers of 10. These here are all different powers of 10 because the number is 10 and there is a power with it. 10 to the 1 is simply another way of writing the number 10. 10 squared with a 2 simply means 10 multiplied by itself, which is 100. And 10 cubed means 10 multiplied by itself, but 3 times in total, so 10 times 10 times 10. And this would give you 1000. So using this pattern, 10 to the 7 will be 10 multiplied by itself 7 times. That would come out as a 1 with 7 zeros after it, because 10 to the 1 had 1 0, 10 squared had 2 zeros, 10 cubed had 3 zeros, so 10 to the 7 must have 7 zeros. Okay, let's have a look at what we mean by standard form. So here is a number, it's actually 3 billion, which is 3 with 9 zeros after it. This could be written as 3 lots of 1 billion, which is 1 with 9 zeros after it. And we know from what we did previously that a 1 with 9 zeros after it is simply a power of 10. It's 10 to the power 9. Now this number at the top here would be considered an ordinary number. This number at the bottom would be considered standard form. What you need to be able to do for your exam is convert from an ordinary number to a number in standard form, but also a number in standard form back to an ordinary number. Let's have a look at the proper definition for standard form then. So taking the number we just had, 3 times 10 to the 9, which was another way of writing 3 billion, the first bit here, the 3, is simply must be a number between 1 and 10. So it can't be 12, it can't be -3, it can't be 0.7, it needs to be between 1 and 10. And it actually can't equal 10 either, it must be between 1 and 10, but not including 10. The second bit, over here, simply needs to be a power of 10, where this number here is a whole number. So we could have 10 to the 5, 10 to the 3, you could even have 10 to the -4, 10 to the -7, any power of 10, where this number, the power, is a whole number. So let's try some examples using that same logic. 60,000. Now, we need to decide what our number is at the start, which must be a number between 1 and 10, and that would be the number 6, because there is a 6 at the front here. Then we need to pick our power of 10. Now, there's an easy way of doing this. You simply draw a line after the 6 that you've just picked, and count how many numbers come after that 6. So there's 1 here, 2, 3, and 4. So this is another way of writing 60,000 6 times 10 to the 4. Let's use the same logic on the next one. The number between 1 and 10, well, that's a 4. And then we need to draw a line after the 4 and count how many digits there are after it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So this is 4 times 10 to the 6. Now this next one's slightly different because there isn't just a number at the front. There's two numbers. There's a 3 and an 8. In order to keep that between 1 and 10, we need to go for 3.8. We couldn't have 38 because that's bigger than 10. And you do the same strategy, only you still go for the line after the first digit. Some people might expect you to put the line after the 8, but it's always after the first digit, after the 6, after the 4, after the 8. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 digits after that first 3, so it's times 10 to the power 4. So the same one here. This time we're going to go for 7.56 and draw a line after the 7, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4 digits again, so it's times 10 to the 4. And for this final one we're going to go for 1.5 because that's between 1 and 10, and times 10, and then we draw the line after the 1 and count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers, so it's times 10 to the 6. That's how you change an ordinary number to a number in standard form. Here are 6 for you to have a go at. If you have a go at those, press pause, and then when you're ready, press play and I'll take you through the answers. Okay, here are the answers. The first one was 9 times 10 to the power 4. The next one was 8 times 10 to the power 5. Then we have 4 times 10 to the power 2. And then 8.7 times 10 to the power 5. 3.25 times 10 to the power 5. And finally 1.577 times 10 to the power 3. Okay, now we need to practice the reverse process, so write these numbers as ordinary numbers. In order to do that, we look at the first number here again, so this is going to start with a 5, and then we simply make sure that there are 6 digits, because there's a power 6 here, after this 5, and they're all going to be zeros, because I've used the 5 already, so it's 5 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 zeros. So the same idea in the next one, only I've got 1.4 here, so my number is going to start with a 1 and a 4, and then I make sure I've got 4 digits, but after the 1, do you remember before when we put the dotted line here, not after the 4, so there must be 4 digits in total after this 1. So I've already used one of them with this 4, so I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So the same idea again, we're going to write 335 and make sure that in total there are 6 digits after this first 3. So I've already used 2 of them with this 3 here and this 5 here, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, here are some for you to try. Try converting these numbers from standard form back to ordinary numbers. Press pause and then press play again when you're ready, and I will take you through the answers. Okay, here are the answers. This first one comes out as 6,000. This next one as 40,000. This next one as 680,000. This next one is quite a large number, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 zeros. And then we have 770,000, and then 999,000, and finally 712400000. Okay, let's have a look at some harder examples. Now these 3 numbers are very different. They're all very small numbers. You still need to, though, be able to convert from these numbers to standard form, and similarly, numbers in standard form back to numbers just like this. Now the same sort of logic applies, only with one small change. We still need to pick our number between 1 and 10, and in this case the number must be 5. And we still need a power of 10, but there's a small change here. Previously, you would have put a dotted line after the 5 and counted how many numbers come after it. Now we're going to put a dotted line before the 5 and count how many numbers come before it. So there are 1, 2, 3, 4 numbers before it. So you might think that the power would be 4, but we know already that 5 times 10 to the 4 would be a 5 with 4 zeros after it, 50,000. But it's not that. It's 5 times 10 to the negative 4 because there are 4 zeros before it. So the same logic with the next one. It's going to be 3 times 10, and then we check before the 3. We've got 1, 2, 3 digits, so it's 3 times 10 to the negative 3. And in this one, well, we can't have 48, so we're going to have 4.8 because our number must be between 1 and 10. And then we count how many digits come before the 4, not after it. We've got 1, 2, 3, so it's 4.8 times 10 to the negative 3. Okay, here are some much smaller numbers for you to have a go at. Try and write these in standard form. Press pause and then press play again when you want the answers. Okay, here are the answers. This first one is 4 times 10 to the negative 3. This next one is 7 times 10 to the negative 5. This next one, 4 times 10, negative 2. And this one, 5.6 times 10 to the negative 4. This one is 7.8 times 10 to the negative 5. And 6.04 times 10 to the negative 3. And finally 7 times 10 to the negative 6. Okay, we just looked at how you convert small numbers into standard form. Let's look at how you convert numbers that are already in standard form like this back to those small numbers. So, This one has a 7 at the front, so there's going to be a 7 somewhere over here in the answer. And this -4 here means that there are going to be 4 digits before that 7. And they're all going to be zeros. So we end up with 0. And that one counts. 0, that's 2, 3, 4 digits, and then a 7. So similarly in this one, we're going to have a 9 and a 2 over here somewhere. And before that, we're going to have 5 zeros. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then our 9, 2. And in this one, we're going to have a 7, 1, 2, 4 over here somewhere, and in front of that, 2 zeros. So 0.0, there's our -2 taken care of, 7, 1, 2, 4. So that's how you convert these numbers back to ordinary numbers. Here are some for you to have a go at, so press pause once again, and then press play when you'd like the answers. Okay, here are the answers. This first one is 0.005. This next one, 0.03. And then we've got 0.000055. And then here we go, 0.000000031. And then 0.000000371. And then 0.0085, and finally 0.03. That concludes your first video on standard form. There is a second video with some harder standard form questions. If you found this okay, I recommend you watch that next.